Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive with myself, Erin Chandler. It's almost the new moon in Capricorn and it's almost the 11/11 portal. I trust that all of you are well. I was going to pull cards and I am, let me tell you, I'm hearing, and I will be just to attune or align the messages to what I'm saying so that you have a physical external confirmation of what I'm saying. Not that any of you on this channel would really need that, but you never know. Some people prefer that. It doesn't matter to me. The message is the message. We don't change the message. The message changes us, to be clear. So we are all in the midst of jumping timelines. Now, here's the thing about jumping timelines and free will and destiny and all these different, I'm hearing different alignments. Like there's a lot of things at play. For those people to be in free will, I don't know why, but this is an important message for somebody on here who feels like you don't have free will or can't make decisions that are in your free will, or there's obstacles, struggles seemingly always in the way. There will always be obstacles or struggles that you come up against and face. Your particular view of whether or not it is an obstacle is based on your perception, is what I'm hearing. So everyone faces obstacles. There's nobody who doesn't. Nobody is here for a walk in the park. Even if you perceive them to be having a walk in a park, it's because you're not actually perceiving from their actual experience. You're perceiving from your own experience and your own limitations of what you think is and isn't possible. The resistance has been huge. I want to talk about the culling. Some of you have planted ridiculous amount of beautiful seeds of light, of love, of all those different things. And it's almost like I'm seeing it like this. So here's the garden here. And in the midst of the garden, let's say the garden's reached this height. It's like I see these beautiful, what kind of flower is that? I want to say poppies, but maybe we need to go back to the poppies channel from last year. I'll link it at the end of this so that you can watch it because it was very in depth about this. But this is a slightly different view that they're giving me for this time frame, specifically for this portal. So it's like your garden is filled. It is so dense and it is so thick. And you have planted so many beautiful seeds, flowers, poppies, roses, peonies. Hibiscus is very important for somebody on here. That's just simply a validation I'm hearing. I'm also seeing yellow flowers as well as a confirmation for somebody too. Your garden is so dense with these flowers that are trying so hard to bloom. But the problem here is, or the problem was, I'm hearing, the problem was they could never get enough light, enough nurturing, enough water, enough of what they needed in order to rise up to bloom. And this is because your garden was so dense with not just those flowers, but a whole bunch of weeds, a whole bunch of plants. I don't want to call them weeds, but yes, they're weeds. Let me tell you, for some of you, you'll know who it is. But it's also plants, other plants, weeds, plus the flowers that you have planted, what you have sown. All these things made up this really dense garden. 2023, we were calling out anything that is not in alignment with allowing your flowers to get the sunshine they need, the water they need, the circulation of air around their stem, including the root system. Because if you've got the root system, this is what I would like to talk about, says one of you, your higher selves. Your root system has been so entangled. This is your root foundation. All of our root foundations, you will find, have been so entangled. I use all lightly because it's not everybody's story, but if you're watching this and this resonates for you, it's definitely, you'll know it. You'll know it. Type it in the comments. Yes, that resonates for me. It's like your garden was so dense with all of these things. And it's not that everything else was weeds in addition to your own seeds, but sometimes there's cactuses and another flower or a flower that you've planted that requires a ton of water, but the cactus over here only requires little drips and you'll drown it if you give it too much water, and you put the two side by side. like it's survival of the fittest. That's what I'm hearing. It becomes survival of the fittest. So what, and not only that, all of the roots have been intertwining and connecting and growing, not just your own seeds that you planted for your beautiful flowers, but also the other plants that are not in alignment because they require a different density and a frequency. They have different needs, I want to say, than your flowers that you have planted do. In addition, you also have the weeds, the ones that suck everybody dry, the ones that grow down their roots and intertwine and wrap around your roots, literally killing any opportunity or any concept, any forward momentum or upward growth of your flower, because something in the root is literally suffocating it. It's strangling it. I want to say, these are very specific words. You'll know if this is for you. So 2023 has been a culling. Technically, it's been longer than 2023, but for most people, they will have seen it so enormously. There has been massive shifts of you back and forth between timelines, up and down, pulling this plant out and readjusting your roots, pulling that plant out and readjusting your roots. I'm also hearing surprise, someone on here, your team, Ascension team is what I'm hearing. Your Ascension team is saying, yes, you were surprised by someone or something that was removed from your life. You are being called to trust this, because when we tap into our intuition, when we highlight or elevate rather a higher frequency, something that is more elevated, you begin to see much more clearly, and you begin to have an inner voice. Your intuition, that's what it is, your intuition becomes much more clear, which means you have much more clear discernment. What is your intuition? It's your inner compass. It's your inner voice. It's your guide. And what does an inner compass, a guide, do? They guide you based on directions. So as all these other plants in your garden get called out, I'm also hearing there's somebody on here. This message is not because that's what you've been doing. It's what you've been asked to do or you are about to do. And this is just setting the framework for you to understand the process as you move through it, because there will be people in your life who have significant resistance. For those of you who have already done this and been pulling out the roots, disentangling so that your flowers can grow in your garden, this is a confirmation for you that that is in fact what you are doing. What is for you will not go past you. What is meant for you and is aligned with you cannot be blocked by anyone or anything when you solely focus internally on your journey. This message has been coming up for, I want to say, since November. For me personally, I trust that it resonates with whoever it resonates with, but this is so true. Yes, there are things that happen around us in life that we do not have control over. I do not have control over you. I'm being referenced to a post from Facebook I did a couple of years ago. Maybe it was a year ago. I can't remember the timing. It was a long time ago, for me at least. And the statement was, normally the saying is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. That's you. The courage to change the things that I can. That's me. I can change this, and I need courage to change me. And the wisdom to know the difference. So what's the difference? It's understanding that I am me and you are you. I am not here to change you. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And I feel like this is coming up very clearly for somebody. I feel like arrow, very direct on this. You cannot change other people. You can only change you. And that requires courage. Most people on the earth plane or who are in 3D mentality, who are really stuck in the programming, are so focused on other people. This person's responsible for why my life went this way. And this person is responsible for this thing that happens. And that person is responsible for this. And if this didn't happen, my life wouldn't look like that. There's two things here. All those things that you just thought or that you were going through, that's true. You would not be sitting in this moment here today if it was not for this person, that experience, that person doing that, and this person doing this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. This is the portal energy. It's about free will. It's about accepting this. There are people that you are not going to align with you. It's not that they're bad people. It's the other plants in the garden. Go back to the cactus, says Ava, because it's really about that. There are people who you cannot change. And the very idea that you want to change them is actually you avoiding the fact that there's something in you that you need to change, because you're actually trying to get something from them that you yourself are asking for within you. These are very specific messages for somebody on here, obviously, as they always are. Put it where it resonates and don't make it fit. But I have a feeling that this is going to fit for a lot of people. I know for me in my life, this has also been very, very true. I'm supposed to pull a card about this. Okay, then. So we'll grab a deck here. I also want to talk about this 1111 portal and jumping timelines and free will. When I am entangled and blaming other people, I just gave away my free will. Most people who are actually in a state of free will, most people who are actually in the creator mode or creator state, I wish to say, it does not matter what happens in the world around them. They are attuned to the fact of what they can control. Is this in my control or is it not? That's the first differentiation. After that differentiation becomes, what can I do that is in my control for where I wish to go, what I wish to create, all of those other things. I don't know why, but reincarnation is coming up really, really strongly. I don't know if this, I'm just gonna speak it out. I'm just gonna speak it out and allow it to resonate for each of you, because it will be different how it fits into your own life, your story, and your higher self. Somebody either thinks that they are or believes someone else to be a reincarnation of somebody that there is a lot of. So I don't know what the reference is of who they think the reincarnation is of, but we'll use the example. So it's kind of like when somebody thinks they're the reincarnation of Jesus, right? Or somebody believes somebody else is a reincarnation of Jesus. We'll use that as an example, because that's not the reincarnation that's coming in. But I'm being told this is the easiest example to keep it in layman's terms, is what I'm hearing, to keep it in layman's terms. So that whole concept of reincarnation, consciousness, multiple lives, lives happening at once, the idea that it is in the past, but really it's in your consciousness existing in the present moment. Therefore, it is the present moment. I also want to talk about consciousness and the fact of, I'll tell you guys a story while I'm pulling a card to go with this. There was a time, I want to say a year ago, a year and a half is what's coming in, a year and a half ago, that I kept wondering why there was like 10 people showing up in readings being like, I think I'm the reincarnation of Jesus, or I think I'm the reincarnation of this person, or I think I'm the reincarnation, I was this person in my last life. So you are, and you're not, if that makes any sense. There are different stories that go along with different things, and they're based on what our perception is, or what we are open-minded to in terms of consciousness and what is possible and what that means. So for example, if we look at it from this perspective, if we are one collective consciousness here on the earth plane, I have my individual soul, my individuated soul right here is Aaron, but my spirit, my higher self, which is also connected to me, is connected to the collective consciousness on the earth plane, regardless of what their experience is or their beliefs are, their thoughts or their alignments. They are all in the collective consciousness connected to my spirit, because you are all spirit too. If we are one collective consciousness with 8 billion different experiences, technically every experience goes into the pot and can be recalled in that consciousness. It can also be imprinted. You can take an imprinting of somebody's consciousness, a specific alignment of energy or a mission or purpose, and implant that, impress or imprint it into multiple people. And in addition, I wish to tell you that that's the story of Jesus, not necessarily what happens in consciousness, but everyone will attune to that differently. I am not here to offend anyone or tell you your beliefs are right or wrong. I'm simply here to offer the multiple perspectives and a higher dimensional view or frequency of the different possibilities, because 2024 is most definitely where things kind of get flipped upside down, which means you're going to be able to experience things that you have not experienced before. It is important to remove labels, says Ava. Most of us have labels, particularly in religions, spirituality, things like that. We have labels that make us feel safe or make us feel known, or what we deem to be true, as a way of being right, as a way of feeling safe, because that's actually what the feeling is. We only need to be right when we feel unsafe. Does that make sense? So for example, if you have to make me wrong, not because I'm wrong, if you have to make me the villain or the bad guy, not because I'm the villain or the bad guy, but rather because you don't feel safe, because whatever the experience is in opposition of what you believe to be true, or is in alignment with your frequency. So there's a lot of different dynamics that are happening. I'm being told this new moon portal is where we get to see open eyes, crystal clear. So come to life. You'll see all the darkness, the gray, black, white, and gray. See all the gray areas? You'll notice she's painting herself with gold. You'll notice there are white butterflies. You'll notice there is a monkey there, the monkey mind. If you go back to one of the previous channels, we talk about the monkey mind. Actually, I think that's been in my e-newsletters that I've been sending out to my subscriber list. So that could be part of that as well. But come to life. We're coming to life. So in this idea of we can't come to life, I get it. In the concept of the garden, going back, because I kind of got sidetracked there. That's okay. It happens. I trust the way that Spirit weaves and winds the messages for me. They may appear that they're all over the place, but technically they're all fluid and interconnected is what I am hearing. Everything is interconnected. So if we go to that come to life, that idea of everything is gray and dreary and black and white, and there's no color, there's no excitement for life, and painting themselves gold, that's the only color coming in. What is gold? To me, gold is divine wisdom. It's a very high frequency color. It's a very high frequency physical matter as well. That's what we've been doing, is transforming, alchemizing this base metal into ore. That's the process of alchemy, right? And what happens in the process of alchemy? We are taking one physical matter thing, the original, the prima materia, the original base thing, and it is changing and shifting and moving and growing. And sometimes we're adding things in and sometimes we're pulling things out, but it's shifting and moving with everything that's added and everything that's being removed until we get to the state of ore. So let's put that into your garden. In your garden that was so densely packed and has been being culled and being pulled out, your flowers can't truly come to life and come to fruition or grow to the height that they are meant to, the potential that you have within you, if they're actually being suffocated or crowded in by all these other different plants that have different requirements or different frequencies and all the weeds. So we've been calling, and yes, some of the people you are going to find somebody on here, there's people that you love that you just naturally are going to be moving away from, not because you don't love them, not because they're terrible people, but here's what it is. You're moving to a state of full creator mode. And anyone that is around you that would hold you back from that, you're naturally gravitating away from them because it's magnetic resonance, quantum physics, however you wish to look at it or explain it. You're polarizing. And in that polarization, you are naturally gravitating or magnetizing yourself to that which is aligned with your actual frequency. I'm also being told to tell somebody on here, you have to trust when something feels out of alignment, even if it is just a little bit. That is your intuition and your resonance telling you that something is off. And no, there may be no logical reason. It does not mean it's negative or scary. It simply means that frequency of the channel with the person that you're engaging with is no longer in alignment. You're moving here. They've chosen to maintain wherever it is that they're at. And that's not a bad thing. This is about awareness. It's always about awareness. Why do you think most people go on a spiritual journey? You're probably not watching this channel if you have not entertained spirituality in some way, shape, or form, whether that's through religions, teaching, esotericism, it doesn't matter. My point here is, why do people go on a spiritual path? Everybody has a different reason. For me, the reason for me going on a spiritual path was because, well, it was that or commit suicide. That's part of my story, right? That was the plan. And when spirit showed up through someone else, that allowed me to be able to choose to follow the path that I was being told I had to do it. It's not your time. You're not going. You stand up and figure this out and learn how to do it. That was the message. And I thought, really? Okay. So I didn't choose the path. The path chose me, but it is up to me to continue on the path. I'm being shown a staircase here for somebody. Somebody on here, you know your path. You know your purpose. Sometimes you get confused, confusing states. The confusion is not because you're confused about your purpose. Your confusion is either that you haven't committed to it. They're showing me the steps, and they're showing me you taking a step onto a step for your ascension process, for your purpose, or towards your dreams, or towards your goals. You're taking a step, and then you stop at the step. And you stop at the step, and you hesitate, either because somebody on here, again, you don't want your purpose. We've had this before in here. Somebody either doesn't want their purpose, or they aren't quite in alignment, or they don't know what to do. They're hesitating. They're doubting. Listen, there's 10 steps ahead of you that are waiting for you to take, but you are not going to see them until you step onto the next step, which is the first step, because the other 10 steps are always going to be there, but you can't skip the step that gets you to the other steps. So if you know what's on the 10th step and you know what your purpose and your mission is, this portal is for you to make a decision in order for you to commit to taking the steps. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it sometimes feels like you're totally out of control. But here's what the beauty of that feeling is. One, that's scary for people because we don't feel in control, and you're used to being in control, and we usually stay stagnant or stay standing on a step as a means to feel like we're in control, when really what's happening is we're stagnating and holding ourselves back from being in full control in creator mode, where you get to create everything. So instead of taking the steps up the step, you go to a step and you stop and you hesitate. And this is not a judgment. I really want to be really clear. I know this staircase, and I know that hesitation like the back of my hand, friend, because I have done it so many times. But that's not the point here. The point here is this portal, this 1111, this new moon is actually a new moon in Capricorn. We're also in the sun sign of Capricorn. We just doubled up the moon and the sun. What does the Capricorn constellation represent? So in the tarot, I know it's represented as the devil energy. Here's why this is important. The devil energy sometimes is us stopping on the staircase because we don't trust that we have what it takes, that we have the information, or that the next step will be shown to us. We have a lack of faith in the self. I talk about this a lot on this channel, friends. It's about your inner power. Why do we go on a spiritual journey? It's to cultivate our inner power, which is our spirit, which is going within. And when we do that, we begin to trust. So we go within the involution. What happens in the involution? We then get to the evolution, where we're then moving out because we start to trust. Okay, I don't see the next step, but I'm going to keep moving forward, and it's going to be shown to me. It's that trust and faith. If you have faith in the divine, that's great, but you have to have faith in yourself. These two things go hand in hand. For some of you, the issue is not that you don't trust in the divine. The issue is you don't trust in yourself, and that's imperative. That is, it's required. It's mandatory, because you can't make choices and you can't go in the direction that you want to if you don't trust yourself. It's almost like the co-creation state is utilizing both. I trust myself, therefore I'm taking a step towards the universe. They're showing me that, so I'm going to take that path because I asked for this and this showed up. And do I trust myself to make a decision? Do I trust myself to do it this time? There's all these different things that are at play for some of you right now. But the whole concept of the new moon in Capricorn and the sun sign, for me, it's a double. We are being shown double Why did we hold ourselves back? And what's the truth of it? What's the core of it? Not the excuse, not blaming somebody else, because it's very easy to blame other people. Things do happen to us. Things that have happened to us are a direct result from somebody else's choices. That is true. And that is true because we are all creators. Those are facts. We're all creators. And sometimes what I want to create is not in alignment with what you want to create. That's what's happening right now is we're separating from that, right? You're coming into alignment. You're culling your garden. I'm seeing somebody's flower right now. After this message, we don't change the message. The message changes us. Therefore, our messages begin to change. If that makes sense. Somebody on here really needed to hear that. This is what I'm hearing. Message received is what I'm hearing. So if we continue on with your garden, they're showing me after this message, your flower, it's like all this stuff has been removed. The soil is no longer compacted and stable. It's been shifted, right? When we take roots of other things out, there's like this empty space in the soil. We have to realign the soil, which is the soil of the foundation, which our roots are rooted in. This allows more nourishment, more growth. It allows the seedling to sprout. It allows the flower to bloom. I'm hearing the lotus has bloomed for someone on here. The lotus has bloomed. There's nothing holding me back. That's the other song that's playing with it too. That makes me giggle. So when we have this feeling, because that's what you've been doing. If you've been culling, after the culling, you have to realign yourself, get yourself resettled into the soil. Maybe you need to add more nutrients. Maybe you need to spread it out. Maybe it's really compacted on the yang side, but the yin side is really loose, or vice versa. For some of you, it's your whole energy feels like it's been shaken, realigned, or things slightly out of step or in step. For some of you, you've been in sync and then out of sync, in sync and then out of sync. There's all these different dynamics that have been playing out. There's no one straight message, friends. There never will be, because obviously this is for everyone on the channel. It's not just for one person like it is in a private session where it's very direct for them. But in this sense, that is why I trust the interweaving that comes through intuitively, coupling it with things that I have learned on my journey as well as from my guides and my daughter Ava in spirit. The energies are aligning in this portal. So I feel like there's multiple subsets of souls who are going to have very clear moments of, that's the key. That's the answer. And your flower just goes. The momentum does not stop. And then there's going to be others of you who are standing on a step, feeling a lot of resistance and hesitation and getting angry and frustrated. Sometimes that is actually the perfect place you need to be. You actually need to be this frustrated in order for you to choose happiness. I'm getting angel cards. I'm getting angel cards here. I have a deck of angel cards from the Ultimate Spiritual board game, which is an awesome product that combines, it's a board game literally, that combines the angelical realms and messages, as well as the chakra energy centers, as well as scripture in it, as well as a lot of self-development and personal growth. It's amazing. If you wish to check that out, that's coming out in an email where it gives all the details and the link to where you can go buy it. Anyways, one of the angel messages coming out from the cards in this is you always have a choice, because Creator gave you free will. Instead of your experiences defining you, you get to choose how you experience your experiences, whether positive or negative. That's what I'm hearing from Spirit. Let me tell you, you can choose to be happy or you can choose to be sad. The angels and angelical realms are on your side. It is up to you whether you enjoy your walk in this life. This does not mean there will not be places that you did not enjoy. What it means is, in the places that you can enjoy it, will you make the choice to enjoy it? Will you make the choice to walk further? Will you make the choice to go into the unknown and walk up the steps? It's a choice. It's all a choice. That's what free will is. Most people who are in bondage, I'm getting bondage, enslavement, entrapment, people who deal with black magic, people who are enslaved by religions, things like that in different aspects. This is not a message for everybody, but anyways, that enslavement is you giving away your free will, and sometimes you're coerced into it. Most people don't even know it. That's the crazy part. Most people don't even know it. It doesn't appear that way. which is scary. It's scary when you think about it. It doesn't appear that way. But when we give away our free will and we do things according to what somebody else wants for us and relinquish our accountability to take a step or make a choice, we just gave away our free will. So this, I feel like, is really going to be highlighted this year in a multitude of ways, whether it's through disclosures, whether it's through experiences with other people, and surprise, somebody's going to get a big surprise about this. There's also somebody who thinks that they understand what's going on, and they do to an extent, but that's not actually what's happening. There's a bigger picture that's happening, and it appears one way in the physical, tangible form, or it appears that way based on somebody else's belief systems or what they know. But I'm seeing my daughter Ava, she's going like this: I got the whole world in my hands. Nothing is really what it appears to be. She makes me feel like people are going to start to really realize in your face, really realize that maybe I didn't have the whole picture. And she says, nobody has the whole picture, Mom. It's true. Nobody has the whole picture. Nobody knows everything. That's why we have so many different roles, right? That's why we have one person experiencing this in consciousness and someone else experiencing that. That is also to attune, to gather the complex information and context of the whole collective consciousness. In addition, what appears to be going on, embarrassment. I've got two stories here. I know this is a long video, friends, but this has been coming through actually for a couple of months now. And it just doesn't stop, which means it needs to be shared. So the message that keeps coming through, it's actually both sides of it. One person is very, very embarrassed. They're embarrassed for how they acted. They're embarrassed for what they said. They're so embarrassed, they will never own up to it. That's what it's coming through as. They are so ashamed and embarrassed, they will never own up to that based on the choices they're making at this time. That does not mean it may change in the future or not. The reason you're being told this is it's almost like you have to let it go, because that person is really, really focused on their perception and what they believe to be true and right. Pardon me. So that's the one side of the spectrum. There's somebody who's just got is so embarrassed. The feeling of embarrassment it's so loud. It's so intense. And then you've got another person. I've got the other end of the spectrum over here, where I'm also hearing somebody else and sensing somebody else having a commentary or a judgment or a projection or maybe a different understanding of a certain piece of the puzzle, and they're embarrassed for the person. So the person who is saying, I'm embarrassed, and they're embarrassed for a feminine. I am to be very gentle with this message. She says, go back to this. In the grand scheme of things, on the entire earth plane, we all go through moments where we feel like we have it all figured out, where we understand all the pieces of the puzzle. The very idea that you would be embarrassed for another doesn't necessarily acclimate to the highest frequency. You are being called to have compassion for others. Not everyone will understand what you understand. And in addition, you also do not understand what is happening in the other person's field in its totality. You could not possibly understand it because they don't understand it, and it has not come into full view at this point in time. The idea that you would be embarrassed for another individual implies that there is, I'm hearing lessons. We all go through lessons. We all go through ego shattering. We all go through moments where we think one thing and then it changes. There is nobody that doesn't experience that. We're all experiencing that. We all have soul lessons. We all have things that what I believed last year, I don't believe. I believe something more expanded now, and that belief I had is gone. And we've talked about this. I've openly talked about this on this YouTube channel months and months ago when I first created it. Sorry, I have an itchy ear, friends. This is important because the person who is embarrassed, you need to have compassion for yourself. Let me tell you, says one of my guides, you made a mistake. We all make mistakes. It's okay to say I was wrong. And I'm also hearing the only way you're going to make that choice is when you allow yourself to open into more extensive or more expanded perspectives and stop making it about other people and recognize you're here for your own personal growth. And that's where we do the involution, which creates the evolution, right? That's the concept or the image that they're showing me. And for the person who's embarrassed for somebody else, that's usually the point where you give them a helping hand. Side note, somebody on here, I feel like, let me tell you, my guide is saying there's somebody on here, you're saying that you're embarrassed for somebody, yet you lack the courage to actually help them, which implies a completely different story for the reason why you are even saying you are embarrassed for them. Woo! Somebody is being called out for something right now, I feel like. So this message is not for everybody. Take it as it resonates. Sometimes we will state that we are embarrassed for somebody and go on and focus on it. Meanwhile, we neglected our own aspect of, I can help them, let me help you. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that implies that you actually understand what's going on in the totality of it. Not everything is what it seems. I will tell you, friends, years ago, I heard over and over and over again from spirit. And at the time, I did not understand this at all. I just kept receiving it. And the thing I kept receiving, and it was always before I engaged with other people, the message was always very, very clear. It was so clear that I've never forgotten it. It has stuck with me. The message was, it is going to appear like you are the fool. It is going to appear like the joke is on you, but the real joke is actually on them. That was the message I heard over and over and over, and to trust and to trust and to trust, because I don't see everything that's going on in the full picture, and neither did the individuals or groups and all that, and still don't, I'm hearing, still don't get this, and that's okay. I didn't get it at the time either. I get it now in the totality, but that's because I'm moving into the broader perspective. So somebody on here, if you feel like somebody played a joke on you, if you feel like you didn't get things, if you feel like you're the fool, guess what? We all go through those stages. We've all been the fool. And just remember, up around the corner is the answer to your question. Up around the corner, I'm seeing the curtains being pulled back and an apology that you don't see coming. And it's not because you changed them. It's not because they suddenly saw the light. It's not because you want that from them. It's because you stopped and let go and moved forward in your own direction. So these two dynamics keep coming in, and every time it's come in, I've not shared it, it's slightly different because it's both sides of it happening at the same time. It feels like I'm picking up on somebody's emotional experience and somebody's judgment of it at the same time. And it's really wild. But anyways, it's like observing a conversation spiritually for people. That's what it's like. So I feel like both sides, both sides are being, I'm getting the Buddha of compassion right now. I'm getting both sides of it in order to honor both dynamics, for both dynamics are relevant. They are interconnected and weave together to hear one side of the story and the complete opposite, and to both make each accountable for their own energies. It allows a fuller, broader perspective. We are all innocent. That's a song playing. We are all innocent. And who's that by? Our Lady Peace. I cannot wait to share with you the channels on that statement. We are all innocent. Many of you will be shifting and moving from this concept of dark and light, having reconciled it at the beginning of 2023. I was very clear that we were reconciling the duality on the earth plane. And sometimes that happens through extreme opposition. Sometimes it happens through the world being flipped upside down as well. There's a number of different ways that comes through. But at the end of the day, regardless of what has happened, regardless of what is done, if you move to the one infinite creator, the beginning and the end, the prima materia is coming in again. When we move to that state, we suddenly see more of the bigger picture, right? Things we didn't see, things we didn't perceive, things we didn't understand. This 1111 portal is like a double whammy with the sun and the moon both being in Capricorn on the new moon of this portal. This is such an opportunity for you to glean, gauge, and move forward with everything that you truly want and are in alignment with. And that requires you to be accountable for you. If you are frustrated, I have somebody on here who's very, very frustrated with where they are, very frustrated with not being able to move forwards. The reason you are unable to move forwards is because you're focusing on what you can't do instead of what you can do. You're focusing on the disappointments of the past. You're focusing on the idea or ideation, concept, idea, and past experiences of it's never going to work. Therefore, that's the momentum you've been on. And I've been there too, friends. I've been there many times for many different reasons, on many different places on my journey, through many different experiences. As a guide, my job is not to judge your experiences, nor is it to have all the answers. Again, think about your intuition. This is why I teach people intuition, how to tap into your compass, how to utilize your gifts, how to expand them. It's because that's your inner guidance, which is your inner power. It's always been your inner power. When you realize how powerful you are, you start making choices in alignment with that power. But if you feel like you are powerless and think that you are powerless, your actions are in alignment with that. Your thoughts are in alignment with that because that's how you feel. A spiritual journey is about calling back your inner power. It's going to the spirit within, which is the spirit of all. And not everybody's on a spiritual journey. Most people who go on a spiritual journey, I don't want to say most. I'm just going to use me as a reference. I went on a spiritual journey because everything in this 3D world, everything outside of me epically failed. And I'll say it felt like it epically failed me. You couldn't win. There's no point. So that's what that experience was like for me. Meanwhile, the work was inside. And when I started doing the inside work, I started calling back my power, which said, okay, I can make choices. And that's my spiritual path, or part of it. And also part of the reason that I've gone to the different experiences or had the different experiences that I've had. It's always about personal power, even when I felt like it wasn't, even when somebody is doing something to me that is not in accordance with free will. What's that going to do? It's going to strengthen my inner power to take back my power so I can have freedom, so I can be in full creator mode, so that I can hop through the portal and not look back down at the staircase or step on the next step and say, whoa, I got to stop here. It's not safe. I might have a rerun and I might fall back down the stairs. These are the dynamics I feel like that are playing out for people because they're showing me different images. So this 1111 portal is massive energy that really highlights for us anywhere we've been hesitating, anywhere we didn't commit to ourselves, anywhere we have something that we think or believe that is not working for us. Yes, we did that last year, but remember, these are steps and layers. And when you unfold one layer, suddenly you're like, whoa, there's that layer down there too. Until you come to a place where you're in full creator mode, full alignment, full freedom is what I'm hearing. And I feel like that's all, folks. That's what I'm saying. Da-da-da! End of a symphony. The choir, the conductor is peace be with you. That is the end of that, is what I am hearing. I'm going to pull one last angel message I'm hearing. And this angel message for 1111 for you, let's have it as, what is the best message that we need to know? Oh, I got two. So in alignment with what I just said. We are most like the angels when we stand ready to serve the good inside of us. To serve the good inside of us. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Anything outside of me. The courage to change the things that I can. The thing within me. And the wisdom to know the difference so that I'm not wasting energy going outside of me, trying to change something outside of me when I have not yet done it inside of me. Now, when I say you can't change everything outside of you, this and that are true, says Ram Dass. This and that are true. You begin to see things change outside of you when you have changed what is inside of you, which is a common spiritual quote or thing that people say. But why do we go on a spiritual journey? We don't go on a spiritual journey to help others necessarily. We go on a spiritual journey to help ourselves. And in that, serving the good in ourselves and having that evolution, we naturally end up serving and helping others through that process. Most people, I'm hearing, step into serving or focusing externally without focusing on the internal. And that's a process. That's also not a judgment, because I know this as well in my experience. Both and. I'm being told to get the other card. Oh, second angel card, message for the 1111. Clear vision helps you to see that abundance will always flow to you. This is for somebody who's having a lot of lack mentality. The only thing that is stopping you from receiving what you want in life is fear and the mistaken belief that somehow you do not deserve abundance or you're not capable of having abundance. I feel like that's it too. Again, it's just like an underlying root belief in the root system. So here's the beautiful flower. The lotus has bloomed. I'm hearing again, here's a beautiful flower. Now that your roots have space to breathe and you can really take in the sun because you're in your energy, you can really take all this in. You just start to flourish and grow, and you're like, hold on, there's lots of abundance. Hold on, I can do that. Hold on, I can create that. Hold on, why did I think that? I can actually do this. And I feel like this is somebody in their throat chakra not speaking their truth. That's what that feels like, because it's the second time that's come in. So I also wish to touch on the fact that this card says clear vision. What's the point of spirituality? Going within. It's the spirit. It's the oneness. It's a path that some of us take. And what's intuition? It's sensing information. It's a compass. It's a guide. It's an inner voice. It's your higher self intended to guide you to that creator mode, to making decisions that are in alignment with things that aren't fear. So you'll notice fear is very apparent on this angel card. Clear vision is required for you to take that step. If you fear what the next step is, it will cloud your vision and it will stop you. That's why I'm hearing fear is the reason why somebody's standing on that step and is not moving forward, and then getting angry that they're not moving forward and looking outside of them when really you need to be looking inside of you. And I also, compassion, like have compassion. And I also wish to say there's somebody on here, you're picking up on somebody else's psychic debris, thought forms, and emotions. You do need to clear your energy. There's a lot of interference and transference happening at this time. The more of you who become aligned and attuned to your spiritual gifts and more expansive, ultra-sensitive energy, you will find that you hear people's thought forms and all these other things, and there can be transference. Again, this is also on previous videos on my channel, but I feel like 2024 is really a time to highlight this, because now people are having the experience of it, which is different than just hearing about it. It doesn't really resonate because you hear about it. It's not part of your experience. But when you start having those experiences, that's the point where you need to act. You're suddenly like, oh, that's what she meant. Yes, that's what I meant. So clear vision will help you to see that abundance can flow to you. And why is that? Because clear vision and a spiritual path or spiritual alignment, being in alignment with your intuitive compass, spirit is abundance. It doesn't end. It doesn't begin and it doesn't end. It is infinite, it is abundant, and it is flowing. So if you're tapping into spirit, you're tapping into an abundance of energy. And spiritual wealth, my friends, is a huge well, infinite well of flowing energy, abundant energy. And I'm not sure why I'm saying that, but I am. Somebody needs to know that if you simply attune to, if you're struggling in one area, you can always attune to the spiritual aspects of the flow of energy that happens, and then cultivate that as one. I'm hearing bring it together as one when you come into alignment, and then the flow becomes the flow for everything. And I'm also hearing you'll also be able to identify who's been manipulating your energy. Somebody on here has somebody manipulating your energy. It could be known or unknown. Take it as it resonates. If you thought of somebody, wow, I just got the craziest message. For some of you, you're going to think of somebody and that's going to be absolutely accurate. For somebody else, you're going to have somebody's name come to mind and that's not who it is at all. It's skewed and that's based on the distortions of this third party that's in your energy. Wow. There's a lot of messages coming through with that, but I am not going there right now. I'm gonna put that over there and I'm gonna share that on a different day or let it flow through on a different day because this message has to come first is what I'm hearing. So happy new moon in Capricorn. Welcome 2024. Let's dive into this 1111 portal. Again, what's a portal? It's you having the energy and the understanding in your belief system to be able to take new actions to catapult you or jump you into another timeline, which you have to maintain based on identifying the things that were stopping you on the staircase, is what I'm hearing as well. I hope to see you there for the Year of the Dragon, where we are really honing in our inner power and spreading our wings. Somebody on here is a Phoenix. That message is for you. Phoenix is your thing or you resonate with it. This message is 1000% for you, I'm hearing. So I will leave that with you. If you wish to connect with me for a private session, you can also find the link for that in the video description box below. Also, I wish to tell some of you, there's somebody on here, you're really struggling with energy, feeling a lot of denseness of energy, feeling like the energetic flow through is taking you down. You may want to check out the 21 days spiritual expansion. That's 21 days straight of not just clearing, grounding, but activating and expanding your energetic fields. It is really helpful when you are dealing with a lot of chaotic energy and you're trying to find your footing or stay in your own energy. That 21 day spiritual expansion, a lot of people have found that has dramatically helped and changed things for them. So you'll also find a link for that in the video description box below. I will leave that with you. Happy 11/11 portal, new moon in Capricorn, and I'll see you on the next video. Until next time.